In this video, we are going to learn how to make a satin stitch. We're going to start with our basic shapes here, and then we're going to move over to the flower, where I like to use the straight, share, tuck method. If you want to learn more about that, just look at the timestamps below. Starting at this little rectangle over here, we're going to split our piece right in the middle. So we're going to come up through the back with our needle. And then we're going to go straight down. If it's hard for you to figure out what straight down is, just use your floss to kind of give you an idea. And then you can even use your needle to mark your place a little bit. Same as what we did up here with our straight stitch. Now we're going to come back right next to that first stitch we made, to the left or to the right, whichever one you prefer, and you might need to use your finger to kind of hold the knot that's in the back to the side just a little bit so you don't hit it. Pull our floss all the way through and go right back down at the bottom, right to the left of that first stitch. Now we always want to start at the top and bring our needle down, or our floss down, so that we're always pulling our thread in the same direction. This will help keep your lines nice and straight. If instead you always came from the top to the bottom and then bottom to the top, top to the bottom, then you'll end up getting your thread pulling your fabric too much in different directions, and then you're going to get a wobbly line. And then we're going to go back where we started and then fill in to the right. Again, you might need to hold that thread in the back just a little bit, or that knot. Now once you're done, if you feel like your floss is just a little bit wobbly, you can kind of gently brush it with the side of your needle. You could use your fingertips if you want. And then check and see if you need to add any more stitches. Over here I could possibly add one more, but I know at the end my tracing lines are going to go away, so I'm going to leave it just how it is. Now let's move over to the circle. We are doing the exact same thing. We're splitting our piece right in the middle, and then we're going to fill into the left and fill into the right. The only thing that's a little bit different about this is that each stitch is going to be a little bit smaller because it's a circle, and so it's enclosing on itself. Now let's move over to using a satin stitch on flower petals. For this, I like to use a method called straight, share, tuck. Let me show you what that is. What you're going to do is you're going to split your first petal right down the middle, just like you did with any of these other shapes. And for flowers like this, I like to hold off on doing the middle until the very end. So you're straight down the middle. Now, again, I'm gonna come from the top and I'm gonna go to the left, but either you can go left or right, doesn't matter. I went right next to that other stitch, following the tracing. So if your flower is a little bit wider, you might be right next to it. If it's really thin, you might be coming down just a little bit. And now instead of going straight down like I've done over here, I'm now going to share that bottom hole. So that very first stitch was the straight stitch. This next one is the share stitch. So I'm sharing the hole at the bottom. Next is going to be the tuck. So I'm going to come, bring my needle up at the top again. Again, I'm just following the tracing down the line. And now I'm going to use my needle and kind of bring it right behind those previous stitches, and I'm going to tuck it. Now, depending on how big your flower petal is, you might do this again a few times. You might just do one more straight stitch. You might do a straight and a share stitch. It just depends on the size of the petal. So for here, I think I'll just do one more straight stitch. And that straight stitch is going to come down right next to that very first one we made. Not sharing it or anything, coming right next to it. And if it overlaps into some of the other petals, that's okay. You don't want to overlap too much, but if it comes a little bit, that's no problem. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on the right. Now sometimes this fills it in a lot, and so you might not get as many stitches on the right side as you did on the left side. And again, that's just okay. But remember, that very first stitch you made was a straight stitch. So the second stitch you're going to make here on the right side is going to be a share stitch. So again, that first stitch was a straight stitch. So this first stitch to the right of that is going to be a share stitch. And I think we can fit one tuck in there. Now, if you got to this point and thought, I'd rather do another straight stitch, you can. This is not an exact method by any means. It is just to help you when your petal is larger at the top and smaller on the bottom. So we're going to do the same thing here. Make your first stitch straight down the middle. Go to the left and make a share stitch, sharing there at the bottom. And then the next one is going to be a tuck. Okay, so I think I'm going to do one more straight stitch to help fill in this gap, especially there at the bottom. And now I'm back up at the top, going to the right of that first stitch we made. I'm going to share at the bottom. And tuck after that one. All right, so now we are going to continue this with the rest of the petals. Once you have finished filling in all of your flower petals, you can then fill in the middle of your flower. For this, I'm just going to use a French knot, and I'm just going to do 2 twists. If you don't know how to do the French knot, we're going to be learning that over here, and I'm going to have a link for that down below. So that is how you complete the satin stitch. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe so that you can find more embroidery tutorials.